you know me. I know lots of you know me. Some of you don't. I have to tell you, I wish someone else was running this, because as much as I value public speaking and I teach it in my school, it's not one of my strengths. The first public speaking I ever gave was in grade 12, and I took correspondence up till the second semester of grade 11. Grade 12 was my first speech. I looked up, had one sentence, and started to bawl. And that was the end of my speech. So, yeah, it's not my forte, so bear with me. First off, I'm thrilled with all of you that are here. I'm also thrilled with the fact that we have school trustees, we have the president and the vice president of the PRNTA, and we have district staff. And I'm thrilled about that, because to me, this is not about who is what or where you are. It's about coming together for good learning and students. And so for us to all sit in the same room thrills me to death. And I have to say that that's really where this trail of mine started, was through politics. And I don't like politics myself. And last year, with everything that was going on, we were going to Pink Mountain and Branding actually, and I got halfway up the highway and said, I'm done. I am done teaching. I don't like some of the things I see. I don't like the feeling I get. It has become political. This is not what I went into teaching for. And so I ranted and raved, which my husband can attest to. I do this very often. And I got the rest of the way up, and we were probably another hour along the way, and then I said, but I love teaching. I love teaching, and I don't want to quit teaching. And so I started looking at other avenues, and I thought about all the things that I value as both a teacher and a parent, and I thought about as I was as a student, and I thought, that's what I want to do. I want to make positive change for students. That's my goal. And sometimes I feel, through no fault of anyone, but we're in a system that's difficult to do that. And I know that there are lots of people. The fact that all three facets of our educational community are here tonight tells me that people want to do this. It's just difficult to sometimes do. So, I want to start with my own education. I loved learning until I was about grade 2. And I learned, it's true, I'm sorry, I'm honest. Anyone that knows me knows I just say it how it is. So, my mom read to me all the time. I developed a love of reading. We were on correspondence. I loved learning. I did. And somewhere around grade 4 or 5, and I was trying to actually pinpoint it and couldn't decide exactly when, I lost that love for learning. And it became something you did. It was expected that you graduate from grade 12. It wasn't if you graduate. The wording around our family was when you graduate. And so that was an expectation. And I just knew it, and I did it. And then when I graduated, I wanted to go on. So that's what I did. And it was a hoop that I jumped to get somewhere. But I can honestly tell you that I didn't walk out of grade 12 thinking, yes, I love learning. And I didn't finish my teaching degree and think, yes, I love learning. I actually said, yes, I'm done, and now I can go teach. I've done what I need to do, now I can go teach. And it wasn't until I was actually probably a good year or maybe 2 years into my master's degree. Is that annoying, that light?
No, the sun will travel.
It was probably 1 or 2 years into my master's degree where I actually had a change. And I had done a unit. We were to do a unit in the master's program. Actually, the instructor is sitting here tonight. Susan Clayton is with us tonight. And we had done this unit, and we were to design and do all the things and why we were doing it. And I got about 1 day into it and said, forget this. I can't possibly write down all the things that my mind is thinking and all the places that I'm looking at and the reasons why I'm doing things. It would take me forever to write down. And I'm going to write it real well. So I went to Susan and I said, I don't like this assignment. And she said, why not? I said, because I don't want to write it down. I like the assignment, but I want to talk to you about it. I want to tell you about it. because I can't write it all down. I can't write all that's in my head. It will take me a month to do that. And Susan said, all right, do that then. So we made a time and we sat down, and I explained to her all the rationale and the reasons for what I was doing. And when I got done that, she said, wow, I'm going to give others the option to do this because you've covered more in the last hour or 2 hours of me speaking than I could ever mark. And that's when I actually decided that I love learning. And I moved on from there, and I have a passion for learning. And I can sit here and tell you that I have a Bachelor of Education from Simon Fraser University. I have my Master's of Education from UNBC. It's in Curriculum Design and Implementation. And I have no problem saying that. I personally never signed the letters behind my name. Because really, what's more important to me is that those were means to an end. And I did it because I wanted something. To me, it's more valuable to tell you that when I broke my leg, I took 6 courses because I was going to drive a family house, but I didn't have something to do. And because I love learning. Since I finished my master's course, I've probably taken 25 different courses. I'm currently taking my accounting course. So I'm interested in it. Because I love learning. And they're across the board. They're photography, they're health, they're Singapore math, they're across the board. And if I was ever going to interview for a job, it wouldn't just be the credentials that you have. I would want to know what you have been doing in the last 6 months and the last year. Because that is, to me, what it's all about, is the love of learning that we instill in people so that they go on and continue to be learners and not just jump through a hoop to get to an end. And I think, sadly, that happens. And I think it's sad that it took 20 years to get back to where I felt in grade 2. Because I know that many people won't have that opportunity to get to the master's level to learn that maybe they love learning again. And hopefully some learn that quicker than I do. And I'm not maybe a very fast learner, I don't know. So then there's comments that I hear along the way, and sometime in the last 3 years, 4 years, it doesn't matter when, a teacher had said about my own child, because I have a child in the system, they wanted Kira to write this test. She hadn't been able to write this test. They wanted her to write the test right away so that she didn't forget the material. Now when I left, I thought, first off, I know that that teacher had my child's best interest at heart. She wanted her to do as well on that test as she could. And I appreciated that. But I also looked and thought, no, I think that's really good learning. If we have to write a test right away so we don't forget the material. But then I thought about high school, and I thought, I don't remember most of the courses that I took, because quite frankly, I wasn't interested in them. I really wasn't. So, because I knew I had to graduate, I jumped the hoops, and I did a pretty good job of it. As a matter of fact, I had great grades. Certainly didn't mean I was a good learner. Because I did not become a good learner until well beyond that. Even though if you were to look at my grades, you would have said that I should have been a good learner. No, I was very good at jumping hoops. That's what I was good at. I'm sad to say that, but jumping hoops is not a bad thing. You have to learn that too. So I want to talk about tonight about what I think is different about this and why I am so passionate about it. I work full-time at Beldonal, and there are days that I'm exhausted by 3 o'clock. And people say I'm nuts because then I come here and I work my second job, which are the children that come to me after that. But I have to tell you that I am way more invigorated. I have more energy at the end of that 3 hours than I do sometimes at the end of the whole day. Because it's exciting to me. It's exciting what I see, and I have to tell you, the students that I have 10 students right now, and I love them all. They're great. They really are a great bunch for many, many reasons that I will talk about. And they are not any particular set of students. They're not all gifted students. They're not all low students. They're not all high. They're not all athletes. I have across the board. I have great athletes. I have some that are great at reading. I have some that are great at math. I have some that aren't very good at reading. I have some that aren't very good at math. And I really, for me, that was important that I do that. Because I don't want someone to say, you have all the gifted children. Of course your program is successful. Anyone can do don't want them to say, well, we have all the low students. Of course it's successful, but that would work with a hub. It's not a gear hub. I don't want that. I want a cross-section of children because I believe this type of learning can work with any child. I firmly believe that. So what's different? First off, it's project-based learning. But it's not just project-based learning. So when I say it's project-based learning, they work on projects. And they choose what they want to learn. And then it is my job to fit the learning outcomes and what they need to know within what they want to learn. And I believe that if we are good teachers, we can do that. If we are teaching, paragraph writing, you can learn to write a proper paragraph about a chair, if that's what fascinates you. You still have to have the same components. You have to have a good opening sentence, you have to have ideas, you have to have details, and you have to have a good conclusion sentence. That process is the same for everything. For every paragraph, the process is the same. And I believe that we can teach through that. The difference is that when you are motivated and you are passionate about a subject, you want to do it. That's the difference. And I can still get where we belong and where we need to be. And I think that's what this is about, is teaching for processes. Processes and skills. I think that's really important. And teaching doesn't mean necessarily learning. And I have to share a quote with you because I love this quote. This was from a student of mine. They had just started, and his mom sent me this and said, commentary on today. This is what the child said. They teach more at school, but I learn more at Mrs. Cushway's. And she said, interesting thought. Well, my first thing was, they teach more? Ooh, that's smart. So I got thinking about that, and I thought, well, that's an interesting concept. So I wrote back this, and I said, that is cool. What he doesn't realize is that is what I'm trying to teach. Him to become a learner, not a listener of my ideas. And I can stand up here and I can teach some cows go home. That does not mean that you have learned. So I love that quote. I'm going to use that quote forever because for one thing, it kind of took me back and it was like, wow, ooh, I don't teach. Ooh, that's smart. And then I thought, no, I don't teach in a sense that you might look and say, I'm here and there and I'm all over. And math, I teach more like that. But when they're doing projects, it doesn't really work like that. So, pretty cool. And I have to say that probably, my notes that I really refuse to look at anyway, so I don't know why they're here, but lots of mine is an ungraded curriculum. And so when I started this, it was very, very important to me that there were no grades. And, I mean, I've had many things over that. I even had someone say to me, what, did you get good grades in school? Actually, yes, I did. I did very well. That's what I have. But I really believe that grades are a ranking system, not a teaching. And where I really think this is, I taught grades 6, 7 for years. And I would give an assignment back, and they would all look at it, and they said, what did you get? What did you get? What did you get? I got an A, I got a C, whatever. But I never did see this. What did you get? Well, you got an A? Oh, what made your paper an A? I only got a C. Let's sit down and see, so I can get an A next time. I never saw it. Didn't know. You got an A, I got a C, that was the end of it. So if grades really were a teaching tool, then I think we'd see that. I think we'd see children doing it, and I don't believe it is. I, on the other hand, think grades can do huge damage to children. I'm embarrassed to say this, because I wrote the report card. I'm going to use this as an example. I wrote a report card this year for a student in my room, and the child wasn't quite making grade level in reading. But they were working so hard, and they were trying so hard, and they had such a good attitude about reading, that I phoned that child's mother and I said, please don't show your child the report card that I'm sending home to you. Now that's a little sad, isn't it? I wrote the report card and here I am saying, please don't show it to us. I have to write on there that their child is not meeting expectations. But I do not, in any way, shape, or form, feel that that is going to help that child's learning. And I have to tell you, as a teacher, that upsets me to have to do that. On the other hand, I am thrilled to sit here today and tell you that that child will fully be meeting grade expectations in reading by June. That I'm thrilled about. Now, there is no evidence, I do not have any numbers to say that that phone call made the difference. But I'm here to tell you that I believe if that report card would have gone home and that parent would have read that to the child, that they would not have continued to learn the way they have. Because they believed they were doing well. And when we believe we do well, we do well. And I honestly, like I said, I have no anything to base this on, but I believe the child would still not believe. And I'm thankful to that parent. I'm extremely thankful to that parent for not doing it. Because I didn't want to do it. But that's part of the system. It is what it is. And that's why I'm here. And that's why I believe this. On the other hand, we have stories. And when we write stories, we all write a story and then we critique it. And we look at it and we discuss it. And then we'll learn it. And I said the other day, you know, I'm pleased that some of you will write stories 6 times. And I was corrected and Jade said, actually I rewrote mine 8. 8. I'm thrilled with that. Because, for one thing, I never saw that. I would love to tell you, I love teaching. I think I do a good job, but I never ever had children, when I gave them grades, come back and say, you know what, I have an A, but I'd like to just see how I can improve it anyway. Do you mind if I just improve it and hand it in? I never had that. And yet now, they'll do it 5, 6, 7 times, 8 times, they'll do it. And that's my job, is to teach. And so when I get that in the learning, I'm thrilled to death. The butterflies on the wall. Watch my time, because I can go on and on and on. I tell you, I have to go on, and I can be here till midnight. The butterflies on the wall actually is something that I got, Austin's Butterfly it's called, and Ron Berger was the one that did this. And you start with the butterfly, and then you, through critiquing each other's work, you get to the end result. And so that's what I was working on at the beginning of the year. And I apologize because some of the boards are in front of the butterflies, so it's really difficult to see. But I encourage you to move the boards and look at the final product of the butterflies. Because I think two things happened with this assignment. We learned to critique each other's work, and we learned to take critique, which I think is valuable. I think we don't have those skills enough as adults. And no one likes to hear it. I tell you, when I get that email that says, you know, they teach more there, I'm like, ah! But you know what, it's important. It's important not to look and say, really? Well, I don't believe that. I think I teach as well as anyone else. But to step back and say, okay, where is this coming from? And to evaluate that. And so that's what we were doing with this, is we were learning to critique and take critique. But for me, something else very valuable came out of this activity. And that's that the butterfly over there, the black and red one, I don't know if you can see it, the student got to the end product in 3 tries. What they felt was the end product. The end product is not what I decide, it's what they decide. The student here took 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times to get where they felt it was. There's one that's taken 6, there's one that's taken 4, there's another one that's taken 5. And to me, what that really shows is that we learn at different rates. And that's okay if you get there at 3, but if you take 6 to get there, as long as you get there, that's really what matters. When we talked about this, and I said to the students, you know what, when you sit here in this room, I don't know that Heather learned to walk at 7 months, and so she's probably going to be a genius the rest of her life. And then, sorry, but Mrs. Gibbons didn't run until she was a year and a half, and so we know what that was, right? So, but I know that's not true. I know that's not true. The bottom line is once you learn to walk, you learn to walk. And it doesn't matter when you did it. Because I don't know, as you sit here in this room, whether you learn to walk at 7 months or a year and a half, and I really don't care. You learn to walk, and you walk just fine. And so if a student takes, I don't care if a student takes a year longer. What I do care about is that student's self-esteem is still there, and they are self-motivated. I want to tell you a little thing about a novel study. Because when we did a novel study, first off, they choose their own book. Who am I to know what your preferences are? That was always a pet peeve of mine. You choose my novel study? I'm sorry, I had to do Never Cry Wolf. I was not impressed. I was raised on the farm. Farley Mowat said that, wolves only attack the weak and the sick. And then when we sent these pictures in to show a perfectly healthy cow that was getting beat apart by these wolves, my mark didn't do so well. But you know what? I didn't care. Because I felt it needed to be said. That no, sorry, Farley Mowat might not know anything here. So when we do novel studies, students choose their own novel studies. And we actually sat down on the one, and I'm actually going to take it more into this next year. But we look at the learning outcomes for the grade, and we say, what have we done? What haven't we done? Because I don't want students going out of the school not getting the same as what they would in school. I believe strongly in academics, always have, but not at the cost of other things along the way. So we sat down, we looked at the learning outcomes, we said, what do we need? What do we need for learning outcomes? They came up with what they felt we needed to. There were 5 assignments on the first book. There was a prediction, there was a mid-book summary, there was a final, there were 2 other ones. So then, I did not assign when they were to be done. I gave them a blank calendar. 2 months, blank calendar. I said, you fill it in. You tell me what's a logical thing, fill it in, and hand it. Well, the first one, they wrote chapter 1, 2, 3. They read all the chapters, and then the last week, they filled in assignment 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I think we probably, anyone that's in this room right now, or most people, maybe not out yet, but know what happened. They got to about day 3 and said, we can't do this. We can't get this in. Why not? Because there's too much to do. It's all, I said I didn't assign it to you. You assign it. I know, but we can't do this. Okay? So anyway, they got their assignments in. When they got there, it was a little behind schedule, and I thought, we'll see what happens next time. Next novel study comes around. I hand out blank sheets. Not one student did that. Every single one of them had put their assignments in space so that they could do it. Well, I'm here to tell you that when I went to university, most people did not drop out of university because they didn't have the ability. They dropped out because they could not organize their time very well, and they ran into jams and got stressed out. Now you can look at that and you can say, wow, you know what, they didn't get their assignments until late. And if a child continued to hand in late assignments, I would deal with it. But I look at that and think, you know what, a 3-week period is a pretty small window of time to learn what I think is a valuable life skill. And not one of them did it here. And I did not say anything. And it wouldn't have mattered, because I could have sat up here and said, you know, you have to space your time wisely, you have to do this, and you have to do that. I could have, when they did it all on 1 week, said that's not going to work. But you know what? My job is to teach them to be learners and teachers of their own self. And I think it went better. We have jobs at the back. And so the supervisor makes $100 a week. Even though we've talked about, we don't think necessarily the supervisor does the most work, actually. But probably the dishwasher that does, but he gets paid the lowest, or she. But we set it up so that we had basically the same idea as the real world. And so there are certain people that make more money and there are certain people that make less. And so if you want the jobs with more money, then you have to give. And when they started, the covering letters weren't great. The resumes weren't great. I didn't expect them to be. But as we went through the year, it is amazing how they changed. And I'm here to tell you that there are covering letters and resumes that will probably make some ads look some. Now they worked on it all year. We had Mr. Stromsmo, one of the owner of Delco, come in, Delco Instruments come in, and actually did it with them. We had someone else go through their resumes. Both of them said, if you have errors in your covering letter or your resumes, they would pitch them out. We have 100 to deal with, and we probably aren't going to look at it. So we talked about that. You don't want any errors in there. If you have errors in there, you're probably not going to get the job. They went through a mock thing, and so that they could experience what it was like. And part of it is knowing when to step in, because, you know, when they were doing it, I realized that it was hard because they hadn't seen what a good one looked like. And so we stopped and we backed up and we role played. Do you want to change chairs? Why don't you just change chairs? That does not look comfortable there. Unless you are saluting me, in which case carry on. So we did that, and we do that kind of thing, and I just really think that those skills are valuable. You know, I just. So, one of the students did become self-driven. She said, I want to become a banker. And I talked to my dad, and he's willing to help me put our books on a computer. And I must tell you, I'm not sure that I'm actually going to put them on the computer. That's what I figured. Yeah. But anyway, I did not say that, because she said she talked to her dad. So she said, if I get this job, because we had budget sheets, and so they make money, and then they get fined. If they don't get their homework done, they get fined, and so that's, and the biggest thing is so that they have to add and subtract, and dealing with numbers and stuff. And so she said, if I get this job, I'm going to computerize it. I'm going to run the same bookkeeping thing that I think everyone is. So anyway, we gave the job to her. To me, that shows self-motivation. What are you going to do? What are you going to do? This is perfect. So she got the job. She went on. She has now computerized, electronic, whatever you want to call it, onto books. So the students keep their paper copy, but she has an electronic version. It's called QuickBooks. QuickBooks. So in one day, when I have time, I'm going to sit down and get her to show me how to run the program, because I really don't know. We have computer techs that made a list of all the things that they could teach others if they were to get the job. I think that's perfect. I love that self-motivation. The models that you see, I don't know if you saw them along the outside of the school. Those models, they started, and my husband does this, that's Chris at the back. This is his project, he loves building. So they designed and they mapped out their building, and they could choose. There's 2 barns, there's a house, there's a cabin, there's all kinds of things. So they get to choose what they wanted to do. They mapped it out. They were given a budget. What was their budget? $100,000. So they had $100,000 to deal with. And I'm not going to tell you who's down to $2,000. So they did all their things. They chose where they were going to put it. They came up. We phoned well, not we. Phoned to find out how much sewer pipe was, how much joint, and how much that all was, so that they could calculate. Then they had to figure out their distance. So they did the sewer pipes. They did all the groundwork. They had called it Marcia. And really, my job was to call ahead and say, there may be some students that are calling you. They're not prank calls. This is what we're doing. Is there someone that would be there? Because what I don't want to happen is someone to, unless if it's an uncle or a dad or a grandpa, I think they're pretty safe. But if they're going to call a business that that I think they might get a negative thing from because they might think it's somebody fooling around. My job is to make sure I clear those obstacles out of the way and make sure that doesn't happen. To make sure there's a contact. So I say, when you phone it's Marcia, please talk to Mr. Wall. Ask for Mr. Wall. You know, when they're doing an aquaponics system down here, two of the girls, we went in on the computer, or the phone, sorry, because we soon realized that we did not have enough expertise. We still are not enough expertise, we're working on it. But we went in and called Vancouver Aquarium, or the Science World, sorry. And we got this great guy on the phone, and basically it was on speakerphone, and the two girls, it was Gracie and Jade's project. They asked all the questions, they had the questions beforehand, they asked the questions. I sat there, was there to support them if they needed it, but really it was them that was able to do it. And I would love to tell you that our aquaponics system is running great. Is it? No. We're having a few difficulties. We've had 3 sets of difficulties with this aquaponics system. Fish are doing great, but we can't seem to make the plants grow very well. So we just did some pH testing today. And Gracie, what was your pH test? Remember what it was? 8.4. And we found out the other day that the optimum for plant growth is 7. We think there's a problem with that. So we need to do something about that. Now when I say we, I'm really good at delegating. And I say, you probably need to research that and figure out how to get that pH level down. So we're really hoping that when we get that pH level down, that the plants are going to grow better. But the reality is we don't know. We've already been 3 times trying different things and it's not worked yet. But you know what? I don't care, because that doesn't take away from the learning. Actually, in some ways, it actually adds to it. So, because, and you know, the end product is wonderful. I hope that we have, and I mean, these 2 girls are looking at, or 1 or 2, I'm not sure who's going to do it, but they're looking at it for a science fair project for next year. And that's wonderful. But I think more important than that is that they're still going to keep up there, because I have no doubt that those things are going to grow in them. Because I have faith in them that they're going to keep at it until they figure out why that thing is not working. And they'll get it to work. And that is what learning is all about. They're not discouraged. They're not upset. They just keep going, and it is going to work. I will say that as sure as I am sitting here, that they will get that system to work. And that is what I think we need to be teaching them. Those are the skills and the things that are just as important as the academics. Are they hard? I mean, are they testable? Not really. They're very hard to test. I mean, how can I say to you, you know, how can I say, how can I explain to you with cold hard numbers what's going on? That's why I'm having this open house tonight. Because the difference in these children between September and now is unbelievable. As far as confidence, as far as what they do, they run their own meetings. Michelle and Mary came in and taught how to run a meeting with Robert's Rules of Order. They run their meetings like that. Their mayor runs the meetings. These are huge skills. Huge skills for them. Today when I asked, I said, how are you feeling about it? And quite frankly, I was pretty nervous about it. And I'm thinking some of them have got to be nervous about this. Well, I was a little surprised. One student said they were excited and nervous. That's it. All the others they weren't nervous about it. Now, I have to tell you, that means a lot to me, because I still, to this day, remember what grade 12 felt like when I looked up and started to cry in front of a group of kids. And it's the hardest thing that I still do. And when I can have 9 out of 10 students not feel nervous, and 1 that's so, you know, that's nervous but is excited about it, that excites me. That thrills me. Now, I told them all, you guys would be a great audience, of course. Oh, I don't even know. I could go on and on, but I don't want to do that. I want to open it up for questions. And to me, it was important that I did the first part where students were here. Because you know what? I know people, and I have been where I know people, and they will give a great spiel, and they sound wonderful. But if you go backstage and you actually talk to the people that work with that person, and you get a very different story, there's something wrong. And I think we need to do that more. Here's one for Dave, our superintendent back there at the back. I believe that when schools get a new administrator, that really they should talk to the staff about what we feel is important in an administrator. I believe that. And I believe that people should come back after a year and say, how is it going?
And if they don't, when Sandra comes and tells them anyway.
That's true. That's true. But I do. And so today, to me, was not just about what I had to say. It's about you being able to talk to my students and you being able to talk to the parents of my students. That, to me, is valuable. Now, we've had 9 students that have run since spring break. Carolyn has just joined us in the last week or so, and we're thrilled about that. And so we haven't got a chance to talk to her about next year, but all 9 students that are here are all back next year. Now, that tells me something. That pleases me a great deal. And I think that you have the right to see both sides of it. I want you to see both sides of it. I want you to hear it. And don't get me wrong, there are things this year, there is speaking that needs to be done. But I have to tell you, I taught for 25 years, taught all grades from K to 10. And you think after 25 years, you have this figured out. But every year, I just learn how much less I know. So it just seems like it should be that, at this point in time, I should know what I'm doing. But every time I go to a workshop, or every time something comes up, I realize how little I know. So this will continue to tweak and change and evolve through the next many, many years. Because that's, to me, what really is learning all about. One year, I was all excited. I had writing figured out. I was thrilled. I'm very passionate about math. I've gone many places and taught to teachers and done things I really believe in teaching math for understanding. Writing, I've really struggled. Writing is a hard thing for me to do. That's why Dave's going to come on board with my skill and teach my language. We're still working on that. Anyway, but I got this one class, it was 2-3, and I was so excited. I finally had figured it out. I knew what it was. They did great writing. I was so excited. I thought, finally. It's about year 15, I think, in my teaching career. And I was so excited, and the next year I did the same thing, and it didn't work. Because it was a different group of students, and it didn't work. And so we went back. And Kathy, who teaches with me every day, hears this all the time. I can't get what I need to get. What are we doing here? And so we have this great thing, and we remodel our entire plan, and you do it again. And that's what's exciting about teaching. I would hate to do a job that was the same day in and day out. I would. It's just, it would be boring. It would be boring. So anyway, that's my spiel. And like I said, I could go on to midnight. And if anyone wants after 8:30 to stay and talk to me till midnight, I will be here. That's what Susan's doing now, and I'm excited about that. She just doesn't know what this is going to do. But anyway, the floor is open. Questions, things, comments from anyone? The floor is yours.
Your resources for all the research and stuff, is that mostly done through the internet, like computers, laptops, tablets, that sort of thing?
It is. Things are changing so fast now that I find encyclopedias are almost a thing of the past, and you can find everything. The other thing, like we're taking a course right now, which we haven't come back to for many weeks because we run 3 hours, and 3 hours right now is not enough to cover everything, so we're preparing all the time. But when we realized we had a problem with the aquaponics system, we registered with the course, and we have have 2 years to do it or something. And so come September, we'll be on there. And so we do chunks, but then we also have live feeds and chats with the person that's doing it. And so it is one of the biggest drawbacks that I have in here, and probably the most frustrating for me because I'm not computer literate. Poor Jody, she gets it pretty much every time she sticks her head in the door. She has to fix something or do something. But our internet's not very great out here. And so it's like today it was really, really poor. And they tell me that there's a platform coming, and that will help our life a lot. Yeah. But it's pretty much all through research. And